your CID-TV News Brief, community news and weather forecast for this Friday. I'm Donna Bush. 3 days ago, a 7.7 magnitude earthquake 80 miles east of the Cayman Islands rocked the three Cayman Islands. Crews have been busy working on repairing sinkholes, water lines, and assessing properties for damage. Meantime, Hazard Management Cayman Islands, the office responsible for activating preparedness plans for disasters, worked closely with first responders, Premier Alden McLaughlin and His Excellency Governor Martin Roper, to keep the public aware of what was happening. On this Friday, His Excellency spoke to CID-TV about the way forward.
It was quite a dramatic week, and I mean, first of all, I think we can be thankful that we escaped it with no loss of life and very little damage actually to buildings, which is a testament to the strength of our building codes and construction. I know it was very traumatic and frightening for many people. I do think the islands did incredibly well to get back on their feet so soon, and I saw a lot of keep calm and carry on spirit from many people, and that's what you need in a crisis. I think, as I said immediately afterwards with the Premier, we clearly need to learn the lessons. I think we did a lot of things very well. I think Hazard Management did a very good job, and the police did a very good job, all our emergency services, but we need to look at lessons learned, and I think one area around sort of public awareness of what to do in a crisis is something that does need attention.
Meantime, today is the day Britain exits the European Union at 6 p.m. Cayman Islands time. His Excellency talked about this history-making move and what it means for these islands.
First of all, nothing will change because we're in a transition period until the end of this year. So there'll be everything changes and nothing changes in a way during this year. Right. I think the implications for Cayman are not great. People do ask me about travelling to Europe and whether there'll be any changes to that. So, for example, at the moment, all British Overseas Territory citizens can travel to Schengen countries, which is mainly the group of EU countries. There's a few changes, but it's the main body of EU countries. Right. BOT citizens can go there in any 6-month period for 90 days and visit. Okay. That isn't affected by the UK's exit from the European Union because that is a separate agreement, is not related to the EU. So okay. For British Overseas Territory citizens still wanting to travel to Europe, that's not affected. For British citizens, that there is no change this year. There will then be some changes, certainly in terms of whether people can work in Europe, because Britain wants to control its own immigration policy. There'll be a work permit system, and that will probably have an impact on working in European countries.
And earlier this week, the commanders and the first 6 junior officers for the new Cayman Islands Regiment were introduced to the public. The junior officers are Theodore Kelly Jr., Selina Suku Singh, Halston Farley, Shanice Kelly, Gabe Rabes, and Janasi Swaby. We invite you to watch CID-TV and on our YouTube channel tonight to hear more from His Excellency on the progress being made with this new security resource. And we continue to highlight our 12 Proud of Them recipients this Friday. Let's meet Nisha Gaudet.
I attended the University College of the Cayman Islands, where I achieved my Associate of Arts in Social Studies. And then after that, I attended the University of Tampa, where I achieved my bachelor's in sociology and a minor in studio arts.
Nisa has always been a really calm, caring, quiet person. She's someone that's always found the joy in the simplicity of life. So she has always loved art and animals and the beach. And she's someone that really is very content with life and just lives life to the fullest.
At UCCI, I graduated with honors, and I was on the Dean's List and President's List almost every semester. At the University of Tampa, I graduated magna cum laude, and I also graduated on the Dean's List. At the Pennsylvania State University, I also graduated as an Honor Society member.
From the time she started pre-kindergarten all the way up to primary 6th grade, she was always on the honor roll, and I knew that she had it in her to excel all the way through to college.
I see myself having a nonprofit organization which focuses on women and girls in helping them achieve their financial and educational goals. I probably want to expand that organization to become a community development organization for the entire Cayman Islands, across all 3 islands, which would focus on poverty, but beginning first with women's poverty, as it has many implications for the well-being of the community, for men and children alike.
I nominated Nisa because not only she had very good academic credentials, she was a good fit for our office. Her personality is such that she works well with everybody, and I see nothing but potential. So I think this Proud of Them is all about that potential in young people.
I feel very proud as a mother and as well as a friend of hers, because we are basically good friends. I believe that it's a great initiative from the Proud of Them organization.
Because throughout the years, she's been someone who is very compassionate, very concerned with the well-being of others, and that's been reflected in her educational achievements, just what she chose to study, being sociology and community and economic development, and then even in her career path as a policy analyst. In everything she does, she's really striving to help others have the best life possible.
I feel very proud to be selected as a Proud of Them honoree. It is definitely a confidence boost, and I feel honored to represent my country in this way.
And we invite you to join us on Monday when we meet Miss Hannah Peralta. Well, coming up immediately after today's news brief, join us for Friday Focus on the coronavirus. We hear from Dr. John Lee, Chief Medical Officer, and Dr. Samuel Williams Rodriguez, Director of Primary Health Care at Public Health. And now for a check on other community stories making Radio Cayman headlines this Friday. The Department of Children and Family Services has moved to a new location. And officials say it's part of a new human services hub that is aimed at reducing the amount of downtime spent traveling between agencies to access services, thereby simplifying and enhancing the client experience. Now, 45 social workers, community development officers, and support personnel completed the move earlier this month to the second floor of Apollo House East at 87 Mary Street from other former offices. The relocation allows the public enhanced access to a number of interrelated services in the building next door as well. Now, for more on this and other stories making Radio Cayman headlines, you can go online to radiocayman.gov.ky. Turning now to the forecast from the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Light easterly winds and smooth seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours. It's all in association with a slack gradient pressure over the Northwest Caribbean. Radar images show no showers over our area. Today's high temperature reached 84 degrees Fahrenheit. The low was 70, and there is a 20% chance of showers and partly cloudy skies. Winds are from the east to southeast, 5 to 10 knots, and seas are smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Remember, you can find all the latest weather on weather.gov.ky. As well, you can download the Weather Services app, which is CINWS. And that ends today's news update here, or news brief rather, here on CID TV. If you missed our news brief this week, you can go to the Cayman Islands Government Facebook page or the CID Television YouTube channel. I'm Donna Bush, wishing you a safe and wonderful weekend, and thanking you for joining us here on CID Television. Cayman Islands public health officials have been on alert for the coronavirus long before the World Health Organization declared a public health emergency of international concern on Thursday.
I think everybody is concerned about the novel coronavirus. I wanted to start maybe by describing the name. It's a rather strange name, but this virus is a new virus that's not been identified before, which is why it has the title 2019 nCoV, or 2019 novel or new coronavirus. It's part of a family of viruses which are common to animals and humans and sometimes travel between humans and animals. We've known this to happen before. But as I said, the public is concerned, as are the healthcare professionals, naturally very concerned.
Basically, the virus, as Dr. Lee said, it was a new virus. It was first detected in December 2019 in China, and after that the virus has spread worldwide. Currently we have over 7,000, almost 8,000 confirmed cases worldwide and 170 deaths. All of those deaths have been in China, and the virus has spread to 20 countries, including 2 countries in the Americas. The United States have 5 cases, and Canada has 3 cases so far. The Cayman Island, we have a strong surveillance system. What we're doing at the moment is enhancing our surveillance system to make sure to prevent the entrance of the virus here in the Cayman Island. And in the case that the virus is here, came here to the Cayman Island, we contain any outbreak. So because of that, the Public Health Department have been in communication with different relevant stakeholders. We've been in communication with border control, with different healthcare facilities. We have sent information to all physicians in the public and private sector about case definition, symptoms, how to manage this case. We've been in communication also with international agencies like the Pan American Health Organization, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, also with Public Health England. So we're getting guidance and advice from them, as well as up-to-date information on the number of cases and what to do with these cases.
It's really important to recognize that we're getting, of course we're doing a lot in Cayman ourselves, as you're describing, Dr. Williams, but we're also getting an awful lot of support from around us, aren't we? From, as you mentioned, Public Health England, and from PAHO, and from the Caribbean Public Health Agency. And we're being not really bombarded, but we're getting 3 or 4 emails a day from these different agencies with updates about what's happening, what we should be doing, and the processes we should be following.
The international agency, we are getting this information from all of them, which is consistent. We are aware that the World Health Organization is meeting today to make a decision if to declare this outbreak a public health event of international concern or not. So we will have that information today, probably after 1 p.m. today. Also, we have one of Public Health, Pan American Health Organization officer here on island, Dr. Valeska, for a different project, but she has been working with us as well in the coronavirus. We did have, yesterday we have a multi-sectorial meeting with relevant stakeholders like border control, also HSA senior management and other staff, relevant staff. The airport authority, GIS, so relevant staff were there to discuss and plan our way forward. We're confident that the Cayman Island and the HSA have everything in place in order to combat this virus if here on island.
I think also at the meeting yesterday there was a representative from tourism as well, which clearly we're concerned whether about the visitors we come to the islands. We always want to make them feel welcome, but we also want to protect them and also protect us at the same time, which is why the surveillance is required and we're monitoring how much surveillance we need to do and making decisions upon that almost at a daily basis. I think one of the most important things that's come about that's been obvious from the news has been this issue of containment, and that's what we need to do should anybody with coronavirus come to the island or return to the island, is that we need to be able to identify that person and the people they've contacted and then try to look after them well, but also prevent the spread. So this issue of containment is priority number 1, which is why you can see that some countries or some airlines have reduced their flights to China, which is why China has been closing down many of its cities, and which is why movement is actually being restricted by some people. There is no current international recommendation for the restriction of movement from the World Health Organization, yet we can clearly see quite drastic action is being taken in some quarters. On the issue of containment, I just wanted to mention that the tips for looking after yourself are ones that would stand you well with influenza and many other viruses, but it's to use the proper cough etiquette, which means to cover your mouth, preferably with a disposable handkerchief, and throw that away immediately. If you can't, then with a flexed elbow to cover your mouth if you're coughing or sneezing. In general, you should keep a good distance from anybody with acute respiratory symptoms. You need to wash your hands regularly with soap and water. If you can't wash your hands, then use hand sanitizer at frequent intervals. Make sure that when you're preparing food, you do that with good food hygiene, and make sure that all fresh meat is cooked well and through. These are the general recommendations that would make for good hygiene with regards to respiratory illness.
Person who experiences a cough or coughing, what we call cough etiquette. So basically, don't cough into your hands. It would be good to cough into a disposable piece of paper or cloth, or if not, you can cough into your elbow or shoulder, but not really into your hands. So that's really important. Any patient who have experienced this type of flu-like symptoms and have a travel history to any of the countries that have been exposed to the virus, we recommend them to contact the healthcare provider right away, and also for the public health department to be informed, so for us to take our measures of surveillance and contact tracing with these patients.
We're intending to enhance the amount of information around the ports, both at the seaports and the airports, with more visual displays of information for passengers who are transmitting themselves through these entry points.
Yeah, as well, one of our public health surveillance officers, senior public health surveillance officer, will be meeting today with the staff at the port of entry of the airport and the port, as well to explain to them what is happening, what we are doing to control any possible entrance of the virus here on island, and also to make sure to answer any question, any doubt that they may have on what to do when they are interacting with passengers. If there's any query, I will advise the public to contact the public health department. They can call at 244-2621, and then the person in the public health department will direct the question to the appropriate officer.
Did you know that planning permission is required for a shed? Did you know you should check with the department, as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know that planning permission is required for an addition, alteration, or any material change to your house? The 10% rule no longer exists. Did you know you should check with the department, as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know your mailing address details on your land register must be up to date in order to receive notices on new development which may impact you? Visit Lands and Survey Department to check your mailing address is correct. Did you know that walls, fences located along the road require planning permission no matter the height? You should check with the department, as a planning and permit application may be required. Did you know that fences and walls within the high water setback require planning permission no matter the height? You should check with the department, as a planning and permit application may be required. Did you know that a trellis structure requires planning permission? You should check with the department, as a planning and permit application may be required. Did you know that a deck more than 6 inches above finished grade requires planning permission? Did you know you should check with the department, as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know that planning permission is required for a sign? Did you know you should check with the department, as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know you should check with the department before leasing a property or unit for a business, as a planning and permit application may be required?